Welcome back, everybody. I'm Joe Farewell of Farewell Firearms Training and Team Atlas Gunworks. And I know I said this was going to be a 10 video series. However, we have a bonus video for you today. I got Cody Accent of the Go Fast podcast and Team Atlas, and he's going to bring you some dry fire drills to build on what Sean and Alicia Burrows talked about in the last video. So leave a comment with your favorite drill down below, and I hope you guys enjoy this video.
Hello everybody, my name is Cody Accent. I'm a sponsored shooter for Atlas Gunworks. I'm a USPSA Grandmaster and I've been shooting competitively for about 6 years. One thing that I've found through competing in USPSA and in all shooting sports is that the best shooters are generally doing quite a bit of dry fire, or at least some, especially early on. Dry fire is a really important part of if you want to get really good. It's something that doesn't cost you money. It's something that you can do, doesn't cost you a lot of time. You can do it in your living room like I am right now. And probably a very large amount, a very large majority of my shooting steel has been built right here in this living room through dry fire without even having to go to the range. A few things about dry fire before we get started. Obviously the most important thing when you're going to be pulling the trigger on a gun in a house is to make sure that the gun's unloaded and to make sure that we're safe. So I have no magazine. Pull the slide back, make sure there's nothing in the chamber. We're good to go there. Second thing, I use magazines. I've got 3 of them. These are my designated dry fire magazines. You don't have to have designated dry fire magazines unless you're gonna be dry firing a lot for competition like what I do. But basically what I have here is a snap cap. So this is designed for dry fire. It's a plastic bullet, plastic primer. It's not gonna go off. And then underneath there, I have a full magazine of these, which are dummy rounds. That is no primer. That is an actual lead bullet. It's the blue bullets. It's an actual lead bullet. I made these myself. I use these to weight down my magazine. That way my magazines are the actual weight that they are when I'm using them, whether it be a stage or in practice. And when the gun is loaded, you know, quote unquote loaded with these, the gun weighs exactly what it weighs when I'm using it in competition. First, what I'm going to show you guys is slow fire trigger control. So for this is like very traditional dry fire. When I first started learning how to shoot a gun before I ever did anything competition related, I was told, point the gun at the wall, pull the trigger straight back nice and slow, and have the front sight not move. That was the only thing I was ever told. So we'll start with that because that actually is a really great drill, especially when you're first starting off. So all I'm gonna do is point the gun at a blank wall and pull the trigger, push the trigger, push the trigger, push the trigger, push the trigger, nice and slow. The hammer fell right when I wanted it to. I just pushed the trigger through nice and slow, and the front sight didn't move. That was exactly what I wanted. That's gonna be a lot more difficult when you're first starting off, or if you're shooting a gun that does not have a baller trigger like the Atlas Gunworks guns have. If you're shooting a stock gun with maybe a 6, 7, 8 pound trigger that's got a lot longer trigger pull, it's probably gonna take you some time to get to where you can do that without the trigger, or without the front sight moving when the trigger goes off and the hammer falls. If you're a more advanced shooter, is I use a shot timer, just like this one. There's lots of different versions of this. You can also just use an app for dry fire. You get there's phone apps, there's computer apps, there's lots of things you can use for this. The best is to get an actual shot timer, but all I really need for this is a random beep. So I push the button and the beep randomly goes off. So my goal with this is to do the same thing. I'm gonna point the gun at the wall, but be focused on the front sight. But when that beep goes off, I'm gonna jam through that trigger as fast as I can. The goal is to get the shot to go off, the quote unquote shot, the dry fire shot, to go off before the end of that beep. So I'm gonna be kind of rushing through that trigger pull, but I'm going to do so in a way that the front sight doesn't move. This is simulating if I'm shooting a USPSA stage or I'm just trying to shoot fast in general. That's how I'm gonna actually pull the trigger. I'm gonna jam through that thing fast, and the goal is to be able to do that without moving the gun and have basically the shots are still gonna be accurate even though I'm pulling the trigger fast. So let me show you what this is gonna look like. Okay, so my trigger finger is not gonna be on the trigger. It's gonna be kind of floating in the trigger, and then I'm gonna slap the trigger basically. I'm gonna slap the trigger, but I'm gonna have the front sight not move, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so the front sight moved on me a little bit that time, and that's totally fine. because that's the point of the drills. I'm trying to fix that. So let me try it one more time. All right, that was better. I was a little bit slow on that one. So if I was doing a full dry fire session, that's something I want to continue to work on. I want to be fast, but I do not want those sights to move. That's something that you can get a lot of good work on your trigger control with just using that one drill. Third drill I want to show you is just regular old draws. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the part timer function on my timer. There's apps you can use for this. Again, a shot timer is the best way to do it. But people ask a lot of times with dry fire, well, how do I time myself when the shot timer is not going to pick up the shots like it would if I was actually shooting the gun? Well, by setting a part timer, I set one for 1 second. So here's what happens. So that first beep is my command to go. So I'm going to start the draw. The goal is to be aimed at a target, to have a sight picture that I'm happy with, and have a good grip where I'm ready to start shooting by the time that second beep hits. So 1 second is pretty sporty, but it's not crazy for somebody who's been practicing and doing this a lot. I'm not going to pull the trigger because if you are doing a one-shot drill, the tendency is going to want to race that second beep. So what somebody might do is whip the gun out, just pull the trigger as fast as they can and say, okay, I'm good. The goal is instead to not pull the trigger, but just get a good sight picture that I'm happy with and do that all within that tight part time. So here's what I'm looking for. So that was good. That was right what I wanted. Let's try it one more time. Also good. So you can do that in any variation. I mean, if you're doing defensive shooting, maybe you want to do it like some sort of fighting stance, and then you go to your gun. That works too. You can do wrists above shoulders, depending on what shooting sport you're trying to do. You can do all kinds of stuff. But hand to sides is really probably what we do the most of in USPSA. So that is what I usually do. Fourth thing I want to show you is reloads. So everybody loves a good reload. They look great on Instagram. They look really cool. And if you want to be a grandmaster, quite frankly, in USPSA, you have to have good, solid reloads. So I'm going to use that same 1 second part time. And this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the gun. I'm going to start with the gun in my hand, finger on the trigger, but not pulling it. When that part time, that first beep starts, I'm going to reach for my first mag on my belt, right here, drop the mag that is in the gun, and reload the gun. So my goal is to get all that process done, and then I'm going to aim back at the target. My goal is to have all that process done within that 1 second time period. Again, if you're first starting off, it's going to be way longer than that. You probably don't even want to use a part time when you're first starting off. But that is eventually where you want to end up. It's about a 1 second part time, 1.1, 1.2, somewhere in there. That's going to give you a pretty sporty reload that's going to enable you to do pretty well in competition. So let's give this a shot. So that was good. I don't want to try it again because I don't want to screw up my second one. So that's what I'm looking for though. Basically, replace a new mag in the gun and it's ready to go. And that's it. The last one I want to do is going to be a multiple shot drill, the first multiple shot drill we've done here, which is going to be draw, fire, dry fire 2 shots on the target, reload, dry fire 2 shots on the target. So we're kind of putting all that stuff together of what I just did. The first question people usually have about dry firing multiple shot drills is, well, the trigger's not going to reset, so how does that work? So that is one thing that an Atlas Gunworks pistol or any kind of double stack 1911 or single stack 1911 style pistol does for you is this trigger. So you pull it, hair falls, but the trigger still moves all within the same range of motion. So I can just keep pulling this thing when it's dead all day, and it gives me basically the same effect. It's not exactly the same. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close to perfect. Other guns, you might have to work through it in different ways, but for these types of pistols, it's very easy. So what I'm going to do is, again, draw, fire 2 shots, reload, dry fire 2 shots. I'm going to do a 2 second part time on this, which again, that's a pretty good part-time. You're gonna wanna start way slower than that if you're first starting off, but that's a pretty good part-time that I'm gonna go for here. Okay, so I didn't quite make it. I was a little bit slow on the draw. I'll try it one more time. That was a little bit better. Again, still a hair slow, but trying it cold, so not too bad. So that's it. Those are 5 dry fire drills. To kind of help you get started, whether you are a new gun owner, whether you're a new competition shooter, or if you're just interested in getting started. Those are all great reasons to do these types of drills. Again, remember those safety tips from the beginning. Safety is obviously the most important thing when we're dealing with real life firearms. Once you have done some of this stuff, or if you're interested in doing this stuff, but maybe you're a little nervous trying on your own, it's always good to seek training from qualified individuals, whether that be a competition shooter, take a concealed carry class, a gun safety class. Those things are always good, especially when you're first starting off. And then once you get comfortable, come out to a match. 3 gun matches, USPSA matches, IDPA matches, Steel Challenge. All those matches have great people. You get to meet new gun owners or other gun owners that are more experienced than you. And just kind of, people are really good about sharing the love of firearms, of our Second Amendment rights in the US, and your gun rights in other countries as well. Everybody's always welcoming and wants to get to know more people. So go out to a local match, even if you're nervous about it. It's always good. It's always a good time, and you might just end up falling in love with it like I did, and basically devote 6 years of your life to it, and spend a whole bunch of money on it because it's a lot of fun.